Hey, Shalom Akim, Yahal Bashim Shad, Bashim Krokodiles Barakatam, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles, Brother Mr. Rowell, to the Akim Akwa, to the folk on the earth, holding on sincerity and truth, to the gospel Lord of Mashaki, Awashai in these days and times, Bram Nasha, DC Camp, short lesson for the hopeful elect. Yeah, so you see the immigration deportation agenda, man. It's just taking on different direction. Now, the people have to wear ankle monitors. So you got a Haitian man, I'm sure you must have seen the video, of having a nervous breakdown that he has to wear an ankle bracelet. At one point in time, when you commit a felony and you're on probation, you're on house arrest. This is what they put on a person to wear. But when it's had to have more migrants coming to the country, now they have to wear it. I've seen Jakes wear this stuff, man. I've seen Jakes wear this stuff. They just stay in the house. They can't go nowhere. You've seen the Northern Kingdom walking around with an ankle monitor. Yeah, so it's been covered in news articles, and but when people start having nervous breakdown because of the plight of their struggles, it makes you remember that the Lord Yahweh Shemashah Bashim Kakadash is going to have to take care of our people. It's necessary. That's why Yahweh Shemashah has to deliver our people out of Babylon, man. That's why I have to read this scripture. All right, Isaiah chapter 51:14. The captive exile hasteneth, that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. All right, so that's Isaiah chapter 51:14. So our people, man, we're stuck. We're stuck in the shadow of Edom. That's why we need the Lord of Mashaki, our shy. To deliver us, man. That's what we're hoping for. Yeah, that's a grown man, having a mental breakdown, because of all the memories of oppression and sadness they got to deal with. So it's gonna be rough, man. A lot of men. This is just a snapshot. This is just a snip of things to come, man. So a lot of men are gonna have to deal with it, man. Nervous breakdown is no joke. The Spirit of the Lord has to be with you, man. The Spirit of the Lord has to be with you. That's why it's necessary, man. To trust in the Lord, man, because this captivity that we find ourselves in, it's very, very testing. It's gonna test the the foundation of a man's soul. All right, Jeremiah 30:6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail? All faces are turned into paleness. All right, so it's gonna be rough, for a lot of men in these days, man. It's gonna be painful. And then verse 7 says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." All right. So it's tough. It's tough, man. The dignity of a man is not something you just overlook, man. A man takes pride in waking up every day to provide for his family. A man, you know, builds up his character, his integrity, to be able to keep his head above his shoulder when a system of instability is always knocking down his door. What do you expect? Men just give up. That's what caused the drug epidemic, to skyrocket, man. Drug abuse. When you attack the foundation of a family with all these policies and legislation, you know, everything begins to fall apart, man. When the nuclear family starts to fracture, all of a sudden the children, become easy pickings for the system. So that's why it's important, man, that, we trust in the Lord and, we hold on, because it's no joke, man. Proverbs chapter 24 and 10, it says what? If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. Alright? So, yeah, this is just preparation, man. Preparation. You hear about what's going on in Indiana, blackouts, and then you just have to accept that trying times are here. Look at what happened in Venezuela. See the earthquake, devastating. You see the earthquake over there in Colombia. You heard about the earthquake in Haiti. You hear about the earthquake in let me see, Japan. All right, and I think Turkey has also had an earthquake too. You can see how messed up it can be. Wildfires, all that stuff. So the Lord is just preparing us to tighten up, man. To get up our loins and focus on what's necessary, which is our faith. Our faith, our faith, our faith. That's why it's important that we do not let go of what the Lord has set before us. 1 Peter 1 and 7, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahweh Hamashiach. Yeah, so that's how it is, man. We're going to have to deal with it. Even verse 6 tells you, wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, you are in heaviness through manifold temptation. All right. So 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 6 and 7, you're going to have to deal with it, man. All right. It's painful, it's tough. You got to deal with it, man. You got to deal with the struggle. A lot of people, they go for their check-in, the immigration check-in, follow-up meetings and all that stuff. All of a sudden, they get detained. They don't care if the judge cleared you of wrongdoing and anything. They just wrap it up. So that's what the system of Esau is about, man. You can't trust the word of a serpent. He abuses the system that he created. He doesn't follow his own laws, but then he wants to violate people's sovereignty. So it just shows you that sovereignty doesn't matter to him. His constitution doesn't matter to him. The word of the Lord doesn't matter to him. So what do you think matters to him? Is the power of his sword. He weaponizes his agencies, to have his way upon the people. And this is just a glimpse of what happens. Yeah, so that's how it is, man. You can file all the documentation you want. You can file all your credentials and all the everything. You go through years of formal education, and then you could still end up at the bottom of the barrel. That's just, you know, Esau's system for you, man. The Lord has to give our people a rude awakening, man. The Lord has to send our people a reminder that He's returning. He has to shake this place up. So things like this happening, it's depressing, it's saddening. But at the end of the day, man, you should be able to trust in the Lord, man. And don't let the aspirations of the flesh, hold you back, man. The Lord wants us to learn the lesson about being humble in the spirit. Being a trust. Let me just say trusting of His gospel. All right. So Sirach chapter 11 and 1. Wisdom lifted up the head of him that is of low degree, and maketh him to sit among great men. So that's what the elect is concerned about, man. The wisdom that we can receive of the Lord, is what is going to keep us stable. When you read Isaiah 33 and 6, it lets you know what you have to prepare yourself for, man. It's rough eating the bread of sorrows, man. So Isaiah 33 and 6, it says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and the strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure." So you just have to learn, that bitterness, man. That's why it's called America, man. Bitter, 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 bitter. All right. Yeah. So that's Levi for you. So you just have to trust in the Lord, man. Trust in the Lord. The Lord has put us in a low position. He's the only one that can get us out of it.
Let us know if he needs sanctuary. Try to find a place for him. Springfield, Ohio.
What did he work out before he came to the US?
Avant de venir aux États-Unis, qui est tout travail. I'm from Chile. Chile. And then come here to the state of America.
Yeah, so that's what happens, man. Levi was in Chile, South America, next door to Argentina, over there in the Pacific coast. So now, he came to America now, and that's what he got to deal with. So that's the issue, man. People are being oppressed. So you just got to pray that we have the courage to hold on to the gospel of the Lord till the end, man. The gospel of the Lord is not something to ignore. It's our life. It's our soul. It's our foundation. So that's about it, man. We have to, hold on to our faith. Shalom.